Hello, this is the Tales History, and I have a new original story for you on my channel Life Stories. Valery Sergeyevich stepped outside. He hadn't planned to go anywhere today, but Ella had been drinking again. When she drank, she became unbearable. Lately, she had been drinking more often, and each time she reminded him that it was because of him that their son had disappeared. Though it would be more accurate to say he didn't disappear but left. He didn't want to communicate with them anymore. He simply vanished from their lives, and nothing more was known about him. Absolutely nothing, not even whether he was alive. No means helped them find out. Pavel was a smart young man, and if he didn't want to be found, no one would find him. The city was huge, and one could work unofficially, so it was easy to hide. Valery got into the car. It was late, he was tired, and he really wanted to be at home. 10 years had passed since Pasha left. They say uncertainty is the worst. They still didn't understand, did he leave to end his life, or did he leave to leave just not with them? But why then were there no traces? The man looked at the house once more and drove out of the yard. There was nowhere to go. He rarely saw his friends lately, mostly just talking on the phone, and it was late. Everyone was family-oriented, all of a certain age. He was alone in the night, like a lost soul. Valery made a couple of loops around the city and then headed to his restaurant. It was supposed to close in an hour, and most likely, it was already quiet there, with only a few visitors. That's where he would stay. He didn't want to bother the staff, so they wouldn't think he came for an inspection. So he decided to enter through the back door and then go straight to his office. And he would text the administrator that he was there himself, and there was no need to call the police. Valery turned on the light in the office and sat on the sofa. A little more of this life, and he could move to work. Valery Sergeyevich closed his eyes. Pasha was not just a long-awaited child. Valery and Ella had already stopped hoping that they would ever have a child. And then, on the day Ella turned 38, in the midst of the celebration, she suddenly felt unwell. Everyone got scared, and the whole company went to the hospital, following the ambulance. On the way, there were various theories. She ate something wrong, overheated, got too nervous, danced too much. In short, many possibilities. The whole group burst into the emergency room and didn't leave until a doctor came to see them. The doctor smiled. Valery asked fearfully what was wrong with her. The doctor laughed. "You sound like life is over. In fact, it's just beginning." "Well, the new life is almost 2 months old." There was silence around. Valery blinked like an idiot, then managed to say, "I don't understand. What's wrong with my wife?" The doctor replied, "Well, the case is more serious than I thought. Your wife is pregnant, and you are going to be a father. So no more noisy parties, only positive emotions, and all that. She's not 20 anymore." Valery stood silently for a while, looking at the doctor, and then it dawned on him what was happening. He smiled, remembering how he had fended off the doctor, whom he had picked up and started tossing in the air like a child. How all their friends had screamed because they knew how much they wanted children. Pasha was born premature, weak, but after a month, he was feeling normal, started gaining weight and growing. In general, he was the most beautiful, smartest boy. But at the age of 3, they became concerned and started visiting doctors. 2 years of endless hospitals, and the verdict, he would not speak. It was a terrible blow. Ella seemed to age 10 years. By the age of 7, Pasha realized he was not like everyone else. He kept trying to find out why, but they didn't know how to explain or comfort him. Pasha withdrew into himself, studied a lot, did many things, and by the age of 15, he began composing music, beautiful but heavy, heart-wrenching. Valerie loved listening to his son play, relaxed, but there was something melancholic about those melodies. His soul ached for his son because imagining what was in Pasha's soul was terrifying. One day, Valery Sergeyevich was expecting a future partner and investor at his home. They had recently decided to try expanding, and Valery wanted growth. Then, fearing that this investor might accidentally or intentionally offend Pasha, Valery asked his son not to come out when the guests arrived. Pasha looked at him, simply nodded, and turned away. Valery wanted to explain, but he didn't have time. The doorbell rang. Only in the evening, after all the guests had left, did he realize that Pasha was not in his room. At first, they thought the boy had just gone for a walk, but it was Ella who found the note. There were only a few words: "I don't want you to be ashamed of me. I don't want to disgrace you. Goodbye." Ella almost killed her husband. She pounded him with her fist and screamed, "You're never satisfied with money, always wanting more. What's the point if you end up alone? If Pasha isn't found, I'll leave you too. Life with your money. Why are you just standing there? Do something." He couldn't do anything and was immediately sure, if Pasha didn't want to be found, he wouldn't be found. He knew his son well, knew he was smart enough for that. The relationship with his wife deteriorated. Ella distanced herself, barely spoke to him. She cleaned, cooked because she had asked to fire the housekeeper, but when he appeared, she hid in her room. She moved to another room almost immediately after their son's disappearance. 10 years of such life passed. Valery periodically went to the police station, but he perfectly understood, no one will look for a son after so many years, although they assured him that the search was ongoing, but he didn't believe it. From time to time, he hired private detectives, always different ones, but the answer was always the same: no leads. He began to notice that his wife smelled of alcohol. He kept silent. She drank more and more. He came home from work, and Ella couldn't get up from the armchair. And quite recently, she began to arrange terrible, dirty scandals, screaming in his face everything she had kept inside for so many years. He stood up. He needed to at least ask for coffee while the kitchen was still open. He left the office, headed towards the kitchen, and froze. His hands trembled, his back was covered in sweat. At the end of the corridor, a boy was squatting with his back to him, putting some bags or boxes into a garbage bag, whistling a tune. It wasn't the boy that surprised Valery, but the melody. It was the very one he used to love listening to from his son. No, this simply couldn't be some coincidence. The son had never sent his music anywhere, no one except the family knew it. Valery looked around in confusion. There was no one nearby. Then he moved towards the boy. "Hello, boy." The boy flinched and jumped up. The corridor was dimly lit, and he couldn't make him out. "Hello. What are you doing here?" "Collecting trash. Helping my mom." "Okay. And who is your mom?" "Mom washes dishes here in the evenings. She's actually an accountant, but they haven't paid her salary for 2 months at work, so she's doing this on the side. So, she washes dishes." "Tell me, what tune were you whistling just now? Where did you learn it?" "I made it up myself." The boy smiled. "No, of course not. Mom says I have a teen ear. And Dad says, no, both ears. Did your dad teach you? He used to write music himself, but he doesn't anymore. The boy sighed sadly. And Valery Sergeyevich, almost losing consciousness, asked, why doesn't he write anymore? The boy shrugged. He's been very sick. Valery Sergeyevich nodded, barely managed to say, okay, keep working, turned around, and barely made it to his office. There, he collapsed into the chair and took his phone. Myron, come to me quickly. I think I haven't finished talking. And the manager was already at the door, looking at him with wide eyes. Valery Sergeyevich, where did you come from? I thought you were at home watching the Seventh Dream. Come in and close the door behind you. The manager immediately became serious. It seemed something had happened. The boss was not in the mood for jokes, and he appeared here as if to check something. But as far as they knew, everything was in order. There were no reasons. I'm listening to you, Valery Sergeyevich. Tell me, Myron, how long has the dishwasher with the child been working evenings here? Myron sighed. Valery Sergeyevich, she's just working part-time. Her husband is sick, and the boy helps out. But if you don't like it, I'll fire her. The boy never bothers anyone. He takes out the trash and carries plates. He doesn't appear in the hall. Did I ask you to fire her? I asked how long she's been working. About a month. What happened? What do you know about her husband? Well, the husband. They're not officially married, that's for sure. I don't know why, although their relationship seems good. I know that the husband. Well, her son said he's not his. But he seems to be a former musician. The boy is generally proud of him. Do you have an address? Myron stared at him uncomprehendingly. Whose? Hers? Yes, of course. Did he do something wrong? No, he didn't do anything wrong. She didn't either. Give me the address. Myron rushed off. It had been a long time since he had seen the boss in such a state of mind. And in general, he had never seen him so agitated. A minute later, a piece of paper with the address lay before Valery. So what now? He'll go there, and it won't be Pasha. Or he'll go, and it will be Pasha, but he'll just send him away. Let it be. The main thing is to know that he's alive. He'll find a way to help them. Could it be? Could it be that they have a grandson? What to tell Ella? And should he tell her at all? Probably, first, he needs to find out everything, and then... Valery took his phone and dialed the number of a private detective agency. He arrived home when Ella had long been asleep. He didn't wake her, sat in the kitchen for a while, realized he wouldn't be able to sleep just like that, poured himself some brandy, and smiled, looking at the glass. All that's left is to start drinking at this age. He poured everything into the sink and went to the bedroom. He was awakened by a phone call. Valery Sergeyevich, it's him. 100%. The man dropped the phone from his hands. It clattered loudly on the floor. A second later, the door opened, and Ella peeked in. She always came to apologize after making a scene. She saw his face, rushed to him. Valer, what's wrong? Your heart. What? Tell me, where does it hurt?